Hello, my name is Linda. I work for WRTP Big Step. I'm one of the tutors here, and I'm also a licensed full-time math and science teacher. So I'm here to help you get through the algebra packet. And if you're watching this video for the first time, this would be the first algebra packet that you will be working through with me. So let's get started. So in this packet, you will be learning how to add and subtract signed numbers, which are also called integers. In case you would get a question asking you about integers, it's just signed numbers. And you will be learning how to multiply and divide signed numbers. These are things you would have done in middle school, and it might be a while for some of you, so it's great to review this. So let's talk a little bit about some of these things. So the rules for multiplying and dividing signed numbers, if they have the same sign, let me grab my tool here. So if they have the same sign, either two positives, a positive times a positive, or a negative times a negative, you will get a positive value for your answer. If you have different signs and you multiply a positive times a negative or a negative times a positive, you will have a negative value for your answer. So let's take a look at some problems, and your packet, we will be looking at page 19, and I will bring that up on the screen for you, but you might want to have your packet handy so you can help take a look at it and fill in some of the answers as we go. So this is page 19. Page 18 gives you some examples, and you can take a look at those if you need to. They will be available for you to review on your own, but I'm also going to review it here on the video, so you're getting the same information just in video form. So I wanted to go to row 5. This is an example of multiplying different signed numbers. So we are going to take a look at row 5. So the first one that we want to look at here is -9 times -5. So they're both, what sign are they? Actually, I think I'll bring up that chart for you guys so that you can have the chart next to you at the same time as, there we go. So recircle, I'm going to recircle this. It's just going to be a little bit smaller on the worksheet side here. So we're going to do -9 times -5, and we're going to look over here at our chart, and we're going to say the signs are both negative. So that would be the same sign. They're both negative. So our answer is going to be positive, right? So what is the answer to -9 times -5? The answer would be, what's 5 times 9? Positive 45. Okay. Next one, -9 times +6. Go over to our chart here. We see that we have a negative and a positive. We have different signs. So it doesn't matter if the positive or the negative comes first. Whenever we have different signs, our answer is going to be negative. So -9 times +6 is 6 times 9 is 54. And if you're a little bit shaky on your multiplication, go ahead and use a multiplication chart. It will help you to get memorized on all of those different basic facts. And the next one is -7 times -3. The signs are both negative. So they're same signs. So same signs, positive value. That's one that can confuse you. If you have two negatives, the answer when multiplying is positive. So 3 times 7 is 21 positive. We don't have to put the positive sign in front of the number like that. You can if you want, but usually if you don't see the positive sign, it's just given that the number is positive. So I'm going to take it away. Last one on this row, +6 times -4. +6 times -4, different signs, yes. So the answer will be negative. 4 times 6 is 24. And then different signs means we have a negative side. So now the question comes up that asks, what happens if you have three numbers with different signs? You could have a positive times a negative times a negative, or a negative times a negative times a negative. What happens when that situation arises? Well, I'm going to clear my drawings here. I'm going to go up to row number 9. Let's scroll up to row 9 here. Let's take a look at this row right here. So the first one we have is a -2 times a -4 times a -2. So you're going to take these in twos, in pairs. So you're first going to say, what is -2 times -4? They're both negative, same sign, positive value. So -2 times -4 is going to give you a positive value of 8. But then you have to multiply that positive 8 times the last number here, -2. So now what you have is a positive number and a negative number. So different signs, the answer will be negative. So 8 times -2 will give you -16. So again, take them in pairs. Next one, -3 times +5. Different signs, yep, negative value. So -3 times +5 is -15. I'll make it a 15 here, 5. And now we have to take this -15 and times it by a -2. Same sign now, right? -15, -2. Same sign, positive value. The answer will be -15 times -2, positive 30. And the last one in this row, we have a -1 times a -4. Same sign, positive value. And then we take the +4 and multiply it by the +2. Same sign, positive value. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so far so good. Okay, now let's see what happens when we divide using different signed numbers. So let's clear our drawings, and I'm going to skip ahead and go past page 20, which is dividing sign numbers. Those are some examples for you to look at on your own. And let's go right into some of the problems. So row 4, I'm going to scoot up to row 4 here. Underline that so we know what we're working with here. Row 4. So the first one is 100 divided by -4. 100 divided by -4. Well, you can think of it in terms of money if you wanted to, for when you divide. Most of you know what 100 divided into 4s are, but if you didn't, you could do long division like this. And you could put a 4 here. 4 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. This just helped me out with long division a little bit. 10 minus 8 is 2. Bring down the 0. 4 goes into 25 times. So if you think of it in terms of a dollar, there's 4 quarters in a dollar. So it'd be 25. But now let's take a look at whether the sign is positive or negative. We have a positive and we have a negative. Different signs. The answer is going to be negative. So it's going to be a -25 right there. Okay, erase this. Next one, -28 divided by +2. So that would be a negative and a positive, different signs. The answer, yep, will be negative. And what will it be? What's half of 28? -14. Correct. Next one, 150 or -150 divided by -5. Same signs, positive value. So you should get positive 30, right? Yeah. And the last one, 96 divided by -4. Positive 96, -4. Different signs, negative values. What's 96 divided by 4? Well, 2 goes into 9, or 4 goes into 9 twice. It gives you 8. Bring down the 1 and 6. 4 goes into 16 4 times. It should be 24, and the answer is negative. Times 4 is 16, carry the 1. Yeah, I think so, right? 24, I want to double check it, times 4. 5 times 4 is 16, carry the 1, yep, 96. Just wanted to double check that I did that right. Okay, I did it in my head. All right, so that was row 4. Let's take a look at row 9. So I'm going to clear my drawings. And if at any time you need to pause the video, feel free to do so and write down the answers or take notes, whatever you need to do. I'm going to clear. We're going to go over to row 9 here. Okay, the first one's done for us, so let's go on to the next one. We have negative 50 divided by 125. So I wonder if they want us to do, yeah, they want us to do a fraction. Okay, so they want us to reduce the fraction. I just want to go back up and see what they say. Sometimes the answer to a division problem is a fraction. The fraction should be reduced to lowest terms and the sign placed in front of the fraction. So they just basically, they don't want us to end up making this a decimal, which is what I thought they wanted us to do. What they want us to do is just reduce the fraction. So if we're reducing the fraction, how many 50s go into 125? So we could just say, let's start with 5. 50 divided by 5 is 10, and 125 divided by 5 is, I think we're going to have to do this a couple of times, but if you don't know, you can always do 125 divided by 5, right? We took it into 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 12 minus 10 is 2. Bring down the 5. 5 into 25 goes 5 times, so it's 5 times 25. So this would be 25. And there was a bigger number we could have taken into it, so we're going to reduce it again. Take another 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 25 divided by 5 is 5, so 2/5. And now we have to decide positive or negative. So I'm going to take away the intermittent step here. So negative on top, positive on the bottom, different signs, negative value. And they want you to place the negative sign in front of the 2/5. The reason being, the negative sign could go with the 2 or it could go with the 5. So usually you write it with just the negative sign in front of the fraction, which kind of signals that you can put it with either the 2 or the 5. Next one then is 35 divided by negative 100. So I'm going to start with my 5 again, divide top and bottom by 5. That's going to give me 7. If I divide 100 by 5, I'm going to get 20. And I think that's as far as we can go on that one. Now we can decide positive or negative. We have a positive top value and negative bottom value. So yeah, negative answer, negative 7/20. And again, we want to try to write the sign in front of the fraction. I'm trying to write it there. And the last one in this row, negative 100 divided by 150. So I'm going to take 10. 10 divided by 100 is 10. And then 150 divided by 10 is 15. And then I'm going to divide by another 5. And I'm going to get 2/3. And then I have a negative top, positive bottom, different signs. The answer is going to be negative. So let me get rid of my intern step. And the answer will be a negative 2/3. So far, so good? Awesome. Now I would like to clear my drawings here and go on to page 22. 22. So we're going to scroll down, right, the next page. And I just want to look at the number line for a moment. So it says locate these points on the number line. So we have to know on a number line, 0 is right in the center. Going to the right, you have positive values. Going to the left, you have negative values. I'll actually write that in. So these are going to be the positive values going this direction. And these are going to be the negative values. Arrow, that way is positive. Arrow going the other way, that way is negative. Okay? And most of you know that, but just a refresher in case you don't. So the first one we have here is negative 10. So we are going to be on what side of 0? Left or right? We will be on the left side. So we're going to count 10 to the left from 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's our very last mark. So this will be our I'll just change colors here. This will be our negative 10 right here. Negative 7. Now, is that going to be closer to 0 or farther away from 0? Yeah, it's going to be closer to 0 because if you think about it in terms of temperature, isn't negative 7 warmer than negative 10? Right. So we're going to count 7 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to put a little mark there. Negative 7 right here. The next one is negative 4.5. You know, it's going to be to the left of 0. So we're going to count 4, and we have to be careful in this. We have to go past the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So past the 4 is actually right there, right in the half, right? Because this is negative 5. This is negative 4. We need negative 4.5. We need to go a little bit past the 4. And going past it means going to the left when it's a negative number. This is negative 4.5, and it's that little dot right there. This was 7 right here, negative 7, and this was negative 10. And now we have negative 2. Well, that one should be pretty easy, right? 1, 2. We'll mark there. Negative 2. And now we have negative 1/4. Okay, that one's going to be harder to show. Here's 0. Here's negative 1. Halfway in the middle is negative 1/2. Negative 1/4 is going to be a little bit closer to 0 than negative 1/2. So we're going to put it pretty close to 0, but not right on it. So this is negative 1/4, like that. And then we have positive 1.5. So now which side of 0 are we going to be on? Yeah, the positive right side. So we have positive 1.5. So this is 1. This is 2. Now when we go past, we have to go past the 1, but not all the way up to the 2. When we go past on the right, we have to go further past the right side there. So 1.5 is going to be right in the middle here. So this is 1.5. If I can fit that in there. 1.5. And then we have 5. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there. We'll call that 5. And I'm going to leave you to do the last couple, 8 and 9 3/4. I'd like to go on to look at number 3 for a second. Write an addition shown by each pair of number arrows. So if you look, this can look a little weird at first, but once you understand what it's showing you, then it's okay. So this here, from here to here, is from 0 to 5, right? So a text box, that's a 5, right? And then they want us to add something to that. So what are we going to add to that? Well, the second thing they have there is going backwards to the left now this way right here. So we're going from 5 down to 2. So that's 5, 4, 3, 2. That's 3, right? 1, 2, 3 spots. So we're adding, don't be tricked on this, we're adding a negative 3. Okay? And together, a positive 5 and a negative 3. And we're actually going to talk about this next, but that would be a positive 2. That's like saying 5 minus 3, right? So that's a positive 2. So that's, and they show you the answer right here. They show you that they want your answer to become positive 2, which is what we got. So you have to do the same thing with this one over here and give that a try. Okay, let's talk a little bit about adding. I'm going to clear my drawings now. A little bit about adding and subtracting. I want to make this bigger. Okay. So what's the rules for adding and subtracting numbers? So if you have the same sign, you're going to add the numbers. Answer takes the sign of the numbers. So if you're adding two negatives, the answer will be a negative. If you're adding two positives, which you're pretty familiar with, that would be a positive value. Different signs, and you adding them, you are going to subtract the numbers. And your answer is going to take the sign of the number with the bigger absolute value. So that sounds like a mouthful, but what it really means is if you think of absolute value, I don't know if you remember absolute value when you were in school, you put a little those two lines, and then you put the number in between the two brackets or the two lines. So the absolute value of any number is always positive. So this is the symbol for absolute value of -4 is just positive 4. So what we're saying here in the rule is that when you subtract the numbers, you're taking the answer that has the bigger absolute value, and you're taking that sign of the number. So we'll show you it in action and make more sense, I think. So let's go back to our paper and look at, what row do I want to look at? Row 6. Let's bring it up here. And row 6 right here. Let's take a look at this. So we have -8 plus -4. Now we got to get out of our head the minus or the timesing and dividing rules because they don't work the same for adding and subtracting. So we have -8. I'm actually going to put the subtraction rule on the next page so we can focus just on what we need here. Okay. And put that in our screen. Okay. So -8 plus -4. So they are both the same sign. So we're going to add the numbers up, and the answer is going to have the sign of both the numbers, which is negative. So 8 plus 4, -12. Okay. Next one, -9 plus -3. Go over to our chart, same sign. So we're going to add up the numbers, and they're going to take the sign of the numbers. So 9 plus 3, -12. Again, right? Okay, next one, -6 plus +9. Different signs. We're going to actually subtract the numbers, and the sign is going to be the absolute value of the bigger number. So the absolute value of -6 is going to be 6, and the absolute value of +9 is going to be 9. The bigger number is the 9, and the 9 is a positive number, so our answer is going to be positive. And remember, we're subtracting 9 minus 6. So +3 or just 3 is the answer. So we took the absolute value, we took the number that was the highest absolute value and took the sign of that number. So the last one here is -7 and +3. Again, different signs. So that means we're going to subtract the numbers. So let's subtract. 7 from 3 is 4. Now, which sign does it get? Well, the absolute value of -7 is 7, and the absolute value of +3 is 3. Which number is bigger, 7 or 3? 7. And is 7 negative or positive? Up here it's negative, so the answer is going to be -4. Another way to look at this, and a lot of people like to do this, this seems to help a lot of people because you're very familiar with money usually, people are. So if I had -7 plus +3, I like to think of negative as being in the hole, that you owe somebody money, okay? So the negative, think of it as owing money. The +3 or the +3 is saying that you have money in your pocket. So in the end, if you owe $7 but you have $3, are you going to end up in the positive or the negative? Right, you're going to be in the negative, and how much are you still in the negative? You pay back what you owe that you have in your pocket, you're still going to be $4 that you're going to owe somebody, right? So that's another way of thinking of it. A lot of times that works well. Okay, let's clear our drawings, and let's go on to subtraction. Okay, subtraction. Before we do that, let's do this big again. Okay, the subtracting rule is keep the first number as it is. This is where a lot of people get mixed up. Change the subtraction sign to an addition sign, and change the second number to the opposite sign. Let me give you an example of that before we try some problems in the pages. So keep the first number as is. So let's say we had 7 minus 4. Okay, that's pretty easy, right? That's just 3, right? Another way of looking at that, though, and I'll show you why that's important in a minute. Keep the first number as is, change the subtraction sign to addition, change the second number to the opposite sign. So by the second number, I mean the number by itself like this, without the sign, without the minus sign in front of it. So the opposite value of 4 is negative 4. So that means the same thing. So 7 plus negative 4 is going to be 3. I mean, it's the same thing as 7 minus 4. So that's okay. I mean, something like 7 minus 4, you can just subtract it. But what happens when you get something like this? 7 minus a negative 4. Now what do you do? Well, this rule, subtracting rule, will work good. So you're going to keep the first number as a 7. You're going to change the subtraction sign to an addition sign. And then you're going to take the second number and change it to the opposite sign. So let's put parentheses around this number. It's currently a negative number, so we're going to change it to a positive number. And you're going to add 7 plus 4, 11. And that's weird for a lot of people, but that is the answer. And there is a mathematical way of showing that on the number line, but we're just going to use the rule, okay? So another way of looking at this is if you have two negative signs next to each other like this, they cancel each other out and they become 7 plus 4. Okay? And we'll try one more before we do some of the problems. Let's try negative 7 minus negative 4. Okay, what are we going to do on that one? Well, what's the rule say? Keep the first number as is, negative 7. Change the subtraction sign to an addition sign. Change the second number to the opposite sign. So currently, it's a negative 4. So now it's going to become a positive 4. Now don't get tricked. What's the answer to negative 7 plus positive 4? Which one has the bigger absolute value? 7, right? So the answer is going to be negative 3. You have to subtract the numbers. The answer takes the sign of the bigger number. So you're going back into, once you change it to an addition equation, you're going back into the rules for adding different signed numbers, okay, that we were just working with. Okay, I'm going to clear my drawings and we're going to try some of these problems. Let's see here. Okay, number row 6. No, we did that one. We're going to do row 8. Row 8 here. So I'll underline that right here, row 8. So we have a negative 5 minus a negative 7. I'm going to write these out a little bit. Negative 5 minus negative 7. And they went ahead and put the parentheses in there for you. They don't always do that when you take tests and stuff like that. So you can always put in those parentheses, and I suggest doing that so you don't get confused. So we're going to keep the first number the same, negative 5. We look at the rules on the right there. We're going to change the subtraction sign to addition. And we're going to make the second number the opposite sign. So it's currently a negative 7. We're going to make it a positive 7. And now we follow the addition rules, right? So let's bring those up for a minute. Addition rules now, we have a negative plus a positive. Different signs, subtract the numbers, and the answer takes the sign of the bigger absolute valued number. So subtract 7 and negative 5 gives you 2. And we have to decide, is it positive or negative? Well, absolute value of 7 is bigger than the absolute value of 5, so it's going to stay positive. So that answer is positive 2. Okay, stay with me. Next one, erase this. Remember, you can always pause the video or rewind it, whatever you need to do. Number 2, so to speak, negative 11 minus 2. Don't get tricked on these kind now. Keep the first, go back to our rules for subtraction. There we are. Keep the first number the same, negative 11. Change the minus or subtraction sign to a plus sign. And then I'm going to put my parentheses in here so that I don't get tricked here. That's a positive 2. We're going to change the sign to a negative 2. So now we follow our addition rules. We have a negative 11 plus a negative 2. Same sign. Add up the numbers. They take the sign of the numbers. So 11 plus 2, 13, and then they're negative. So the answer is negative 13. Oh, kind of scrolled, I think, on my thing. Let's scroll back. So that would be negative 13 right there. Next one, let's get rid of all of this, is negative 5 minus positive 3. And again, they put the parentheses in there, but they won't always do that on a test. Negative 5 minus positive 3. Follow our rules for subtraction. Keep the first number as it is, the negative 5. Change the subtraction sign to an addition sign. Change the number in parentheses, the second number, to the opposite sign, negative 3. Now we follow our addition rules. The numbers are both the same sign, so we're going to add them. 5 and 3 is 8, and they're going to take the sign of the numbers, and the numbers are both negative, so negative 8. Great job, you guys. Very good. Okay, next one is negative 9 minus negative 3. Erase this. Negative 9 minus negative 3. So we'll rewrite it again. Negative 9 minus negative 3. And we'll bring up our rules again. Keep the first number. It is a negative 9. Change the subtraction sign to addition. And maybe sometimes you want to pause the video and try them ahead of me and then see if you got the right answers. And then change the second number to the opposite sign. It's negative 3. Make it positive 3. And then go back to the addition rules. We have a negative number and a positive number, different signs. So we're going to subtract the two numbers, 9 minus 3, 6. And we're going to take the sign, the answer is taking the sign of the number with the bigger absolute value. So 9 is going to be the bigger absolute value. The answer is negative 6. This one is negative 6. Another way to look at it again is to say, okay, I owe $9, but I have 3 in my pocket. I'm still going to be negative $6 in the hole. I still owe negative $6. Okay, so let's clear those drawings. And I think that pretty much gives you a good head start on this packet. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment here. And yeah, so I hope you had a good time learning this information about signed numbers, and I hope now you can add and subtract signed numbers and multiply and divide signed numbers. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.